do now, and okay. Should I hit got it? Okay, there we go. And I consult with people individually and small businesses and groups as to how you can do it too, hopefully based on your personal spending habits and even your, if you have your own business, on your business habits. And this is me in Iceland. We were there in June. Most of our trips that we take are either the flights are free, the hotel is free, or sometimes both are free, and nice places too, not, not like dumpy hotels or anything like that. I'm going to go through my slides a little bit quickly, and then at the end, you guys could ask questions. I'm going to try not to speak for more than like 15-20 minutes. I have a timer going. So we'll see how it goes. So if you want to do what I do successfully, there's just some things to keep in mind. And one of the most important ones is this game does not work if you are not somebody who pays your bills on time and in full. It is really important. Any interest and fees that you end up paying are going to negate any rewards that you may earn for free travel. You definitely need a decent credit score to start. I touched on this a little bit. I'm going to touch on it a lot more in the next slide. Don't be scared to apply for cards, especially with big bonuses. And for all of you who might be using your debit card on your groceries or anything else, my advice is to stop doing that. You don't get anything with a debit card. It's silly. This is what makes up your credit score. The biggest thing is payment history. It's 35%. And how much debt you owe is 30%. So somebody had asked the question, Frank, it was you, who, what happens when you apply for a new card? Yes, your credit score does take a little ding when you apply for a new card. It's 10% is new credit, but utilization ratio, which is kind of falls into this 30%, is how much money you owe over how much credit you have available. And when you apply for a credit card, you get more credit available. So the denominator of this utilization ratio gets bigger and your utilization ratio gets lower, which is 30% of your score. So yes, you take a little ding when you first apply, but ultimately with good behavior, and payment and activity, in a month or 2 or 3, your credit score actually will go up because of that new credit line that you got. So don't be scared to apply. And yes, I'm sure everyone knows this, but there are 4 main types of rewards. There's airline miles, hotel points, flexible rewards, my favorite. I'm going to talk a lot about it. And there's cash back. How do we earn miles and points? Airline miles, flying, spending on an airline credit card, and transferring them from flexible rewards. And same with hotels. We stay at hotels, we spend on our Bonvoy Hyatt cards, and we get to transfer from flexible rewards programs. I'm going to go a lot more into that as well. All right, these are some myths that I think a lot of people think. The best way to earn airline miles is with an airline card, and same with the hotels. The best way to earn hotel points is with a hotel credit card, and I am here to dispel those myths. That's not true. The best way to earn airline miles and hotel points is with flexible rewards cards. Reason is they get more per dollar. So groceries, gas, dining, they're going to, a lot of your cards that maybe you're using, American Airlines, Delta, they're only getting 1x per dollar. A lot of your flexible rewards cards get more. Then, even though you're earning flexible rewards, you can transfer them to your hotel and airline partners. Most of them, they transfer at 1-to-1. Sometimes there's really good transfer bonuses. So I keep using the word flexible rewards. So what are the flexible rewards? Basically, there's 4 major ones. There's Amex membership rewards, there's Chase Ultimate Rewards, Capital One miles, and Citibank thank you points. 4 different banks. These are just examples of some of my favorite cards, 1 or 2 per bank. The Amex Gold card, 4 times on dining and 4 times on groceries. I meet a lot of people who have an Amex Platinum and they're, happy about it and they've had it forever, and they constantly take that Platinum out for, dining. And I say to them, like, if you would go out for dinner with me and my husband on our $200 meal, we'd be earning 800 points and you're only earning 200 points with your Platinum card. I'm sure everyone's heard of the Sapphire. Chase did a great job marketing it. That's 3 times on dining, 2 times on travel. Capital one of my favorite cards, because you don't have to really think, is 2 miles per dollar on everything. And Citibank also, this is one of my favorite Citibank cards, the Premier, really good categories for your personal spending, 3 times on dining, groceries, gas, and travel. Most of the time too, I only touched on like certain categories. So we didn't talk about things like haircuts and dentist appointments and sneakers and Bloomingdale's and vet bills and kind of things that fall into everything else. And with all of these banks, you know, you have like the top card where I just showed you on the slide before, and then you might have these other cards that you still earn more than one X on your everything else. And I recommend like a 2-card combo or Capital One. It's just 1 card, just to make sure that all your expenses are covered at earning more than 1X per dollar, because that's where you really are going to maximize your rewards. Now, I post on Instagram a lot, and I don't know if anybody's on Instagram, but I constantly post on Instagram my other players in my family, and I call them players. And it's my husband and it's my 3 kids, and they all have either their own cards. Like my husband has a ton of his own cards too. He has his own business. My kids have additional cards under me and my husband. And a lot of times you can combine these points. So most of the, except for Amex, most of the big banks, so it's Chase, Capital One, and Citi, they let spouses combine their points. Chase, actually, you just need to live in the same household, and they let one person combine. Capital One, I can combine my Capital One miles with any of you. They don't care. And Citibank, they let people combine, but they give you a little restriction that you have to use it within 90 days. But in general, you know, the more players you have playing the game and spending and earning, the easier it is to maximize your rewards and travel for free. So one of the things that I talk about is like, should you even have an airline? I'm just seeing where I am with time. Should you even have an airline or a hotel card? Because maybe a lot of you do. And the answer is, it depends. Why are you using it? And can you use the benefits it comes with? A lot of the hotel cards come with free nights. A lot of the airline cards come with free bags, companion passes. Some of them offer statement credits on spending like at the resort. And one of the main reasons to maybe hold an airline or a hotel card is if you like status and you want to keep or get status, that would be a reason to hold an airline or a hotel card. But even if you have one of those for any of these reasons, I don't necessarily recommend using them on your everyday spending unless you're going for something like status, and you don't need to do that really until mid-year, last quarter of the year, when you see where you are and you know what you want to attain for the year after. But I wouldn't use any of these cards on everyday spending, and we're going to see why very soon. Sorry, why is my slide not going? There we go. All right. All right. So 3 main ways. I'm back to flexible rewards. 3 main ways to use them. We talked about this one. We can transfer them to travel partners. So they all transfer to different travel partners. Some go to the same, a bunch of them go to like JetBlue. The other way you could use your rewards is like money. So, you know, most of them you can redeem at 1 cent a point. With certain Chase cards, you could do a little better with like 1.25 or 1.5, but you have to go through their travel portal to get those. And then the third way, and this really only is applicable to a Capital One card, you can go to a hotel or you can buy airfare. You could use your credit card, and then you could use your miles to get a statement credit at 1 cent a mile. And I just want to say, when I keep saying Capital One miles, they just call it miles. It really has nothing to do with airfare. It's their currency that they call miles. Some call it miles, some call it points. This is just a list of the transfer partners from the 4 banks. Some of the big guys I put in red, like Amex, they transfer to Delta, they transfer to JetBlue. Chase, they actually have United. So like Amex is kind of married to Delta. I say Chase married to United. Capital One, they have a bunch. They're trying really hard, but no real mainstream like US ones. And same with Citi. They're a little bit, but if anybody who's planning like a big international trip, or, you know, the travel partners here are really good for these 2 guys. If you don't care about flying like a Delta or a United. Okay. Like I said, most of the time when you use your points as money, you redeem at 1 cent. So, Amex, Capital One, and Citibank, 1 cent. So a $500 plane ticket is 50,000 points or miles, depending on which bank you're in. Chase is the one that if you have a Sapphire, or on the business side, if you have an Ink preferred card, as long as you go through the Chase travel portal, you get to redeem with a little bit of a bump. So it's a 25% bump or a 50% bump. So that same $500 plane ticket that I said, if you pay with Amex or Capital One or Citi, is 50,000 miles or points. With Chase, if you have one of those cards, it would only be 37,500 points to book that same plane ticket. So most of the time, when I book travel for myself, or when I help any of my clients, they come to me, they say, Cindy, we want to fly to LA in July. Should we book our flights through Amex on Delta, or should we be transferring our points from Amex to Delta? And we do a little comparison. And that's pretty much, if you have flexible rewards, you get to do this comparison every single time, because you have 2 different ways you can go, and you do it where you will use less. So for example, if your Delta flight, it's a $500 flight, and we would need 50,000 Amex points to book it as money through Amex. But if you go to delta.com and you see that the flight is only 40,000 Delta miles, it would certainly make more sense to transfer your Amex points, only 40,000 of them, to Delta, and book it through Delta instead of using your 50,000 Amex points to book that $500 Delta ticket on Amex. Now, some of you guys might have cashback cards. I don't mind cashback cards at all, if you don't care about traveling. So cashback cards are really easy. There's good multipliers, like there's Citibank makes a great one, the Citi Double Cash, where you earn 2% on everything. Wells Fargo makes a really good one. You earn 2% back. There's other cards where you get, 3% back, even 4% back on some, mainstream categories like dining or travel. But when you go to redeem, you only have one choice to redeem, and that's to redeem as a statement credit or check at 1 cent. And when I say you only have one way to redeem, there may be other ways, like they may try to entice you guys to buy a gift card or to use your points on Amazon. And that's something that I never recommend, because you're never going to get that 1 cent. Your goal is to get minimally 1 cent on your redemptions. So that's cashback is straight. You earn and you redeem at 1 cent. So you don't have the ability to transfer it to partners, which is where the points and miles become the most valuable. I give a little list of please don't, and it could, if you guys have any questions about these, I said this in the beginning, if you're using a debit card for anything, please use a credit card instead. And if you're nervous about, you don't want to see the bill at the end of the month, treat your credit card like a debit card. If you buy something one day for $300, it's a little bit annoying, but just pay, right then and there, the next day when the charge hits, pay it off, just like the money would have come out if you were using a debit card. I don't suggest ever paying a fee for using a credit card. Some vendors do charge a fee unless you're earning certain points and miles, and it's more than 1x per dollar, then it could make sense. I talked about this. Don't be shy about taking advantage of the big bonus offers that are out there. Remember, a little ding to your score at first, but overall, your score goes up, not to mention that you get a really big bonus. That's fun to use. And if you do apply for a card with a bonus, make sure you don't miss the bonus. Know how much money you need to spend and by when. That's the worst thing to do, is to miss a bonus. Getting a card for the bonus, holding it for a year, then maybe canceling it. I can't say I have never not done that. I definitely have. I do try, though, to recommend that people, instead of canceling their cards after a year, they downgrade it to possibly a no-fee card. So I don't because the canceling card also hurts your score a little bit. But, if you see a really big bonus and at the end of year 1, you're not going to use a card, it's okay to cancel. It's actually worse to cancel cards that you've had for much longer, like 15 years, 20 years, because that affects your score a lot more. I don't suggest, purchasing points and miles. I'm sure you guys get a lot of emails if you belong to some of the loyalty programs that there's a sale on the purchasing of points or miles. Those deals usually aren't that great. The only time I would recommend that is if you're short, like miles or points for a trip, and it's cheaper to purchase to top off your account than to actually pay for that flight or that hotel room. No using airline credit cards if you have flexible rewards. Like even if you have a Delta card, like the gold card, a lot of people may have, you're only earning 2 times Delta miles per dollar. But if you have an Amex Gold, you're earning 3. And if you have an Amex Platinum, you're earning 5x per dollar. So, it seems like it may make sense to buy your flights on their credit card, but you're going to do better with flexible rewards. When you travel, just make sure you're a member of every loyalty program. Like when you check in, make sure they have your number. Same with flights, add your loyalty number to your reservations. If anybody has kids, even young kids, them too, make sure that they're getting credit for all their travel. I talked about this just before, no using your rewards for gift cards or Amazon, because even though they try to entice you when you're checking out, you have X amount of Amex points, you have X amount of Capital One miles. Do you want to use them for your purchase? No, you do not. You are not going to get 1 cent per point or 1 cent per mile doing it that. And I mentioned this too, I don't love the cancel if there are no fee downgrade options. So that's always something that I suggest too. If anybody has kids, like I said, under 18, it's great to make them additional card members because 1, it does kind of help their credit a little bit, even though they're additional card members. And 2, as they get older and they start to do things on their own, they get to contribute to the family pot of points and miles as well. And the minute kids turn 18, I do recommend them getting a student card because, again, they're starting to build their credit and it helps for the future. And like Chris said, here is my contact info. Happy to, answer questions and reach out and answer
Cindy.
questions now.
Cindy, that
Yes.
was excellent. Can you go into briefly, before we open it up for Q&A, can you go into briefly, we were talking last time about the credit card for small businesses with respect to paying rent. I believe you were telling me about a card.
It's not you can only earn points on personal rent, not business rent. It's called the Bilt card. It's been only out for about a year. And it allows you to earn, it's the first credit card where you can actually earn points on your rent, even if your landlord charges a fee, because what the Bilt card does is it gives you a bank account number and a routing number, just like your own bank account has a bank account number and routing number that you likely gave to your landlord. And if your landlord wants a check, Bilt will even write a check for you. So that's the nice thing about that card. It's a no-fee card. The rent is capped at $50,000 every calendar year. So as long as you're not paying more than about $5,000-$6,000 in personal rent a year, it makes sense. And it actually earns a nice currency too, called Bilt Rewards, that they transfer to a lot of partners, about 11 right now. And again, very aggressive in marketing and trying to get more. And you can redeem those too, just like your Chase points, you can redeem them through their Bilt travel portal at 1.25 cent. And it's a no-fee card. And it also has no foreign transaction fees. So again, it's marketed as a rent card, but it's pretty good, for everything, basically. They don't have a ton of hotel transfer partners. They have Hyatt and they have IHG. So they don't have like your Bonvoy or your Hilton or, they're the only actually program that has you can transfer to American Airlines from. None of the other 4 major banks that I named can you transfer to American Airlines.
Okay, excellent. So I want to open it up. If anyone has questions, just feel free to unmute. I'll see you. I'll call on you. While everyone's thinking of a question, I just wanted to point something out that I heard you say, Cindy. I thought this was interesting. If someone has a credit card with a fee that they don't use that often, they could simply, it sounds like what you said was they could simply call up the bank and say, hey, I'm not using this card, as you guys could probably see. Can I downgrade this card? And they can actually do that for you. They can actually downgrade your card.
As long as there's a downgrade option, and a lot of the cards do have downgrade options to no fee versions. Some don't, but a lot do. So it depends on the card. But
Okay.
yes. And then what I usually suggest, because even so, you're going to downgrade it to a no fee version, you're going to stick it in a drawer because you're not using it anyway. But you want to avoid like the bank kind of getting annoyed with you. Like they don't care so much if you're paying your $95 a year. But if you downgrade to a no fee card and then it's just sitting there and you're not using it, what I usually suggest, and you could subscribe to my newsletter, and twice a year I say, hey everyone, take out all your cards that are sitting in a drawer and go buy yourself a cup of coffee, or go to the drugstore and buy yourself, shampoo, just so it shows activity. It's kind of objective in the system. So, if they see no activity for 24 months, 36 months, they could be like, this person is, we're going to cancel it on them. Now, banks like Chase will usually send you a letter and say, hey, if you don't use your card in the next 30 days, you're going to cancel. But some of the banks don't, and they'll just, all of a sudden you'll get a letter saying they canceled it. So that's just the one little thing you just have to remember. If you're going to downgrade to no fee cards, just take them out once, twice a year and use them, or put something monthly on it, small, like Netflix, and then just stick it on auto pay. And then you avoid them canceling it on you. Because again, we don't want to lose the credit line. When we lose that credit line, you lose the denominator of the utilization ratio, and then that hurts our score.
So what's your favorite card? Flexible
Mhm.
rewards card, right? Because that's how everyone needs to think, right? What's your favorite
Right.
flexible rewards card for dining?
Well, for dining, so I personally, it's a teeny bit expensive, but you can knock it down with benefits. So I really like the Amex Gold card. It earns 4 times per dollar. And I'm going to say the Bilt card too, which, I don't really have in my presentation because it's so new, but the Bilt card earns 3 times X per dollar, both really flexible in terms of rewards. You have to look at like, where it makes sense for you, like, Frank and I don't know your name. Sorry.
Bridget.
I don't know what airline you fly, a ton, but if you tell me that you fly Delta all the time back and forth to Naples, maybe a Chase card wouldn't make sense to you, where Chase, like I said, is kind of married to United. They're married to Delta. But if you tell me that you fly United, maybe we would say a Chase card is better. So it's hard for me to say the best one for dining or the best one for groceries. It's kind of like unique to your situation, basically. And same if you have a business, or their business cards that you can bring in that kind of complement your personal cards. So, people that live in Atlanta, they live in a Delta hub. People that live in Dallas, they're an American Airlines hub. And I guess I'm not saying get those cards. I'm saying maybe get the flexible rewards card, where those miles can go to the airlines that you probably are going to use the most. And like I said, that Capital One card is the easiest one, because most of the cards I recommend, it's a 2-card combo, because a lot of them only have the multipliers on certain expenses. And I really like everybody earning more than 1x on every expense. And there's no card except for like a Capital One where you earn more than 1x on every expense.
Excellent.
So, so is it fair to say that the reason why someone would hire you is that you can take a snapshot of what I spend my money on and tell me what's the best card for us?
Yes.
That's
So
basically
we
what
look
you
at
do.
you Yeah, we look at you personally, and we look at you on the business side, and we see your spending habits and how much you spend. Do you advertise, things like that. And there's pretty much the right card for basically all of your personal and your business expenses. So that is what I do. Like we learn about that and do that probably in like an hour consult. And then I give you a lot of things to do. And then I kind of stay on you for like a year, really, like, month. If you're doing well, I'll like skip a month. But in the beginning, especially when you may be going for a bonus, or, you're trying to still figure out how to work the benefits, I pretty much like stay on you for monthly until I know that you're okay. And then even after a year, like if we would sit down and I know now that you have the City Premier card, and let's say in 18 months from now, there's a big change to the City Premier card, or there's an amazing offer where you can earn 10 times on Amazon if you have it. I always know that you have the City Premier card. So I don't bombard people with my newsletters. What I do is kind of target my newsletters based on your card inventory. So, I have a list of people that have the City Premier card. So you would get the emails like that. So I never really go away, even if I don't check in with you monthly. For the rest of your life, I know you have the City Premier card, and you'll always hear from me when something changes or there's a really good offer with that card or any card that I know you have.
All right, so, and how do you structure, how do you get paid? No, what's your fee structure? How does that work?
Right. So it's $295 for the consult, which is the about an hour, usually 45 minutes to an hour. Somebody with a business, it definitely may be closer to an hour. And then I don't let you pay me till you have the right card to pay me with. So even if we sit down and you only have cards that earn 1x per dollar, I probably won't let you pay me, because I want you to earn more than 1x. And so that's basically it's the $295. You get a big email from me with lots of tasks for you, and then I check in with you when you're ready to book. Like, I won't do crazy things like, I want to go to New Zealand and I want to use my Virgin Atlantic miles, but I want to fly Delta, and there's an alliance there. Like, that's just way too time consuming. But if it's like easy stuff like, Naples or LA or, and we just have to make the little comparison that I talked about in one of my slides. Like, should you transfer your points or should you book them through your bank portal? I help with things like that really whenever you need. So, that's pretty much, it's just the $295 and then points.
And I'm sure that based on what you do, you more than make up for that fee for everyone. So
I do. I mean,
no
and the other thing is, a lot of times too, I have some affiliate links. So I do make a little bit of money there too, when people actually apply for cards through my links. But I do, first of all, whether you're going to get a retention offer, possibly, which, especially if you have high fee cards that you're not using the benefits, I do sometimes recommend, let's try for the retention offer. Or is it a big bonus that you may get? Or is it just you're going to earn more on your spending, and a lot more sometimes? You may be going from a 1x to a 4x. I mean, I'm bragging a little bit. My fee is really reasonable compared to what you're going to end up getting out of me, basically,
Understood.
Because, to be honest with you, nobody really comes to me perfect, or they wouldn't come to me. So I tweak, and you have to come to me and be willing to tweak and possibly apply for a card or two. And just through the bonuses are worth so much, so.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Anyone else have any questions for Cindy while we have her? Well, I encourage everyone, take Cindy's information down. Any follow-up questions, I'm sure she's happy to ask. But thank you everyone for jumping on today. I think we all got a lot of knowledge about this. I mean, I'm certainly gonna look into, a couple of cards myself. But thank you, Cindy. Really appreciate you spending the time, and wish everyone a happy holidays.
Happy
Yep,
holiday
thank
to
you.
everyone as well.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye,
Great
Cindy.
Cindy.
presentation.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.